Welcome to our Indivisible meeting. If this is your first time coming, we are so glad you came this morning. We hope you'll engage further with us. We are super excited that we have a guest speaker today. I cannot wait to introduce you guys to April from Juneteenth. We're just thrilled to have her here. I just want to give you a quick agenda for us. We are going to do some quick business reporting for you. And then we have our special guest here. And then at the end of the meeting, we will have postcards at the back of the room. There are a few suggested issues on the table if you would like to pick one of those issues to write your representatives about, or if there's something on your mind, then we encourage you to write about your own thoughts as well. You don't have to pick one of ours. Okay, the first thing that we want to talk about this morning, this computer does not, oh, there we go. Okay. The first thing that we want to talk about this morning is what's happening in our state house. And for those of you, if you haven't been keeping up, we're going to give you just a little bit of information and then talk about where we are right now. So back on May the 7th, there was a bill introduced to the House Judiciary Committee that would allow for our South Carolina map to be redrawn. The goal of this is to eliminate Representative Clyburn's district, which is District 6, in order to create a 7-0 Republican map. In order to do this, there was a second bill that was introduced because the primaries are about to begin. And so if we're going to redraw the map, we can't have the US congressional primaries at the original scheduled date. We don't have enough time. So what the second bill does is it pushes back the primary date just for the US congressional candidates in South Carolina. So on May 12th, both the Judiciary Subcommittee and the committee, full committee, passed those two bills favorably to be able to be sent to the full House floor and then to the Senate. Fortunately, that day, the Senate decided to vote that they did not want to extend session to consider this, and we all sighed a breath of relief and we thought we were done, but we weren't. Governor McMaster has called our House and our Senate back into session just to consider these maps. This next slide, this is the new map that is being suggested by the House. It was specifically drawn to change District 6. It is going to disenfranchise a lot of voters in South Carolina, especially in our Black and Brown communities. It is going to eliminate our one Democrat and our one Black representative that we have for South Carolina. You'll also notice that Spartanburg County is divided in half. So they used to be all in the same district. Now Spartanburg County is actually going to have to hold two different primaries for two different candidates. So there are several things at play here that make this a bad move for South Carolina. The first is just that the special session itself is going to cost us thousands of dollars in taxpayer money. Regardless of what happens with the map, they're already spending taxpayer money that they don't have just to be in this special session. Secondly, if we have to have a separate primary, that's going to cost us in the millions. And the majority of that weight is going to fall on the counties themselves. The election commission does not have the money to run that second primary. The state does not have the money to run that second primary. So that means the counties are going to have to take care of that. And for counties like Spartanburg, that we're going to be having a primary for one candidate and now are going to have two, the cost is going to be even more than for the counties where their representatives didn't change. The other thing that you have to think about are the people who have already donated to campaigns, and now potentially the candidate that they donated to is no longer in their district. So they have already given away funds that are not going to be able to work for them. So just aside from the obvious worst part of the redistricting, there are lots of reasons why this does not make sense for our state. And if you take a look here, Adam Kincaid is the name of the man who actually drew the new map. And this is what he presented to the Judiciary Subcommittee on Tuesday. So the PVI means Partisan Voter Index, which means that's the points more than the national average. So if it's an R+7, then that means they're 7 points more likely to go Republican than the national average. Is that right? Okay, perfect. So you can see these, the middle column are our current numbers, and the final column are what the numbers will look like with the new map. Okay, so that's all the bad news. I'm going to give you maybe just what could be a hint of good news. But first of all, I'm going to give you a disclaimer. You know that Indivisible is nonpartisan. We work for democracy. Right now, the party that is in power nationally and at the state level, they are systematically working to tear down our democracy. So y'all are about to hear me talk about flipping seats, but I want to be clear that we would be having this conversation even if the parties were reversed, that this is about democracy. Okay, so if you look at that final column, District 3 used to be an R+21. With the new map, it goes down to an R+11. And the district that is currently D+13 goes to an R+5. And on the new map, we do not have any districts that are higher than R+11. This map is also created on old data. So that means if they do pass it, if we work hard enough to mobilize our voters and educate our voters and turn our voters out, an R+11 is not unflippable. We've seen it in the special elections across the country. We do have the opportunity with this new map to make it work in the opposite way that they're wanting it to work. But we have to make sure our voters are educated. It's going to be very confusing. Absentee ballots have already gone out with the US congressional names on them. So people are going to think that they've already voted when they get that absentee ballot and they mark it. And then the new election date is in August. So it's going to take a lot of education, but it's not impossible. So that's the good news. Yes. It's okay.
That's a
Right. So the question was, or the statement was, it's not in August at the moment. That's true. It has not been passed yet. The proposed bill would make all primaries still on June 9th, except for the US congressional primary, which would be August 18th, if it passes. but that is true. It has not passed yet. The discussions will happen this week. So we need to be in constant contact with our South Carolina House representatives and our South Carolina senators to let them know what we think about this. There is still just about this much time left. If you are interested in being a poll worker, there are classes this week to be a poll worker for June 9th for the primaries. But you need to get signed up ASAP if you're willing to help do that. And you can do that at scvotes.gov if you're interested in being a poll worker. Do we have any questions about what's going on? Yes.
The numbers said they're based on old data. How old is that data?
Okay, so the question was the numbers on the map are based off of old data, and how old is that data? They would be based off of the 2020 census, right? And then the PVI would be based off of the 2024 election. So the population data is from 2020, and then the party data is from 2024. Yes.
Where is the ACLU on this?
Okay, the question is, where is the ACLU on this? They're very involved. The ACLU has called for filling the room and rallies. They had one on Tuesday. They had another one on Thursday. I'm sure that they are also going to be watching very closely and calling for anyone who can get to Columbia again this upcoming week, because that's when the debates are going to be taking place in the House and the Senate. The ACLU is standing firmly against redistricting. There's too much disenfranchisement of our voters with the new map. Too much potential disenfranchisement, I should say, because like I said, if we really work on mobilization, we might be able to counter that. But the goal is disenfranchisement. So the ACLU is firmly against it. Yes.
Not a question, but a comment. You folks probably already know this, but Montgomery, Alabama and Selma, Alabama are having very large events, probably even as we speak. I don't know if they started yet.
That's true. And that, I think, is a combination of Black Voters Matter and Indivisible. And I don't know if the ACLU is involved in that one or not, but the flagship events are in Alabama. Anything else about this?
I know that there's a get out the vote training today, this afternoon, that I'm attending. So I know that those are coming out too.
The comment for those of you on Zoom was that there is a get out the vote training today. So it's in Simpsonville. So definitely be watching for those kind of things to see how you can get involved and how we can really get people motivated to turn out and create some change. Yes.
I think it's important to consider calling this whole process what it is. As far as I'm concerned, it's gerrymandering. And to call it redistricting, that's when you change lines based on new census data. Gerrymandering is exactly what they're doing right now. And I think language is important. And so calling it what it is to people, I think will ring a bell for them that this is bad. Gerrymandering's bad, redistricting is okay.
Right. So the comment for those of you on Zoom is about the importance of language and how redistricting really just it paints it in a picture that makes it sound like it's okay, right? So you're absolutely right. We should be referring to this as racist gerrymandering because that's what it is. Yeah. Yes.
If we take it a step further, call it what it really is, and that's election tampering.
Yeah, the next step, the comment was, is that it's election tampering, and it really is. It's a power grab. The Republicans are trying very hard to make sure that they can get every seat possible in the US Congress. And the reason is that they don't think they can win with the way things are. So they've got to make changes in order to keep their power. So it is absolutely a power grab and election tampering and racist gerrymandering and all the things. Like it's definitely something we want to be loud about. We want to make sure we're contacting our representatives consistently and letting them know. When April and I were there on Tuesday, every single person who got up and gave testimony to the subcommittee was against changing the map. And I can tell you that those Congress people on the subcommittee who were already in favor, they didn't even blink an eye. They were not interested. And so it's going to take consistent and pushy messages to them to let them know that you're watching and it's not okay. Yes.
And they don't say that because sometimes when you say that, election tampering, it brings about a different definition, you know, it comes home in a different way than gerrymandering. Not everybody understands gerrymandering. But election tampering, that really kind of goes to the heart of what it is.
Right. So again, if you didn't hear the comment, that was again about how using the right words is really important, and making sure that people understand what's happening, that even using the words gerrymandering may not hit home with some people. But if you tell them that elections are being tampered with, then I think more people will understand the seriousness of what we're dealing with. Yes.
I think it's a mindful time also for when we're talking to other people to really just be upfront about what's really happening. But not only that, not only are our, you know, representatives give a damn about what we want, but they're not being penalized or affected. We're the ones that's gonna put the bill, and it's a huge bill, and we need to let people know in those terms.
Right. And so it's really important that that if you're going to speak to the Republican representatives, one of the things they constantly talk about is money. And if you talk about racist gerrymandering, those representatives are going to turn their ears off immediately. But if you talk about the financial irresponsibility of the fact that the session is costing money, the second primary is going to cost money, the counties are going to have to foot the bill. Maybe that strikes a bell with some of them.
Cindy,
Yes.
Miss Susie would like for us to announce that the ACLU is having a press conference and a rally on May the 21st. I'm assuming that's going to be in Columbia at the State House, but she does not know the time as of yet and will let us know. And then we have a question. Someone wants to know, what about our voters who are abroad? They have already sent in their ballots.
So that's where the confusion comes in. And y'all, that's part of the aim, is to create enough chaos and confusion that nobody really knows what's happening. But that the overseas ballots and the absentee ballots have already gone out based on the original map and the original primary dates. So if people are already returning those ballots, they are going to think they've already voted for the US congressional candidate, but those votes are not going to count if this bill goes through. They will have to vote again in August because the ballots for June 9th will change if this bill goes through. So the ones that have already been sent out will be wrong. Yes.
The way the state says they've addressed that issue is saying just that any votes cast in the congressional races would be invalidated. So then, yes, they would have to vote again. And I would, there are a couple other things. I want to make it clear that McMaster's was on record saying he wouldn't call special sessions, okay? The Senate, our Republican Senate, voted against this. It was only after personal calls, I mean, personal from the very top, pressure and some quid pro quos, backroom deals going on, that they will change their mind. So that is something that's going on. I caution against using cost as an argument because there is some speculation that says they will not have June primaries. That perhaps what they'll do is also take this opportunity to redistrict the state house districts
Okay,
and then have everything in August. So everything is really in a big limbo right now. And it's not about the money, it's not about, I don't wanna say it's not about race, because it is about race. But what they're doing is, I mean, Richland County, breaking it up into 3 districts.
right.
What they're trying to do is serve the elected people as opposed to serving the constituents, the voters, and that's why it's wrong. So I would hang my hat on you're disenfranchising voters, you're disregarding your citizens to help keep those in power. And that's not the way this was ever designed. It was designed to represent the people and serve the people, and it is not doing that.
One of the statements that I've seen come out of the ACLU is that the people should choose their representatives. The representatives should not choose their voters. And so that's a great way to look at it, is that the reason this is not right is because the representatives are getting to choose their voters, and it should be the other way around. Yes, ma'am.
Very, but military is coming in, what's going, and they will mail their ballot in, what's going to happen to this franchise in the military?
Yes, it would be the same thing with any overseas ballot for the military as well. The congressional votes would be invalidated if they choose to move that primary to August, and they would have to vote again. Right, and the Greenville News should definitely be educating voters, but we're not seeing a whole lot of education come out yet. Yes.
In the past, we were protected by the law. Is the law anywhere in this? Is the law on our side?
So the question was, is the law on our side? Does the law protect us with any of this? I'm gonna let.
Yeah, in 2020, they did some redistricting, okay? And people were all up in arms, and it became a big court cases. Alexander versus South Carolina Coalition and NAACP. Okay, brought between the lower courts in 22. They ruled a certain way, looking at racial gerrymandering and things like that because of Amendment 14. Saying that they can't do it this way, that way. Anyway, didn't like the ruling. It went all the way up to the US Supreme Court, where the US Supreme Court in May 29th to 24, ruled that South Carolina's maps were not redrawn, and our state legislators swore, they under oath said that it was not racial gerrymandered. So they're using the excuse of saying it was racially gerrymandered. And so now we don't have to racially gerrymander. And that's the excuse they're saying, is that, oh, we're not, but that's not it at all. They're redistricting because there's nothing that specifically says you cannot mid-census redistrict. So it's opening up a huge can of worms, but they can't stand on a leg. The media is putting it forth that saying it was racially gerrymandered to protect vibrancy, which it was not, they said under oath. So now they don't have to do that, and that's why they're redistricting. That is false. They're doing it because they can.
So just in the interest of time, so that we don't keep you guys here longer than we said we would, I'm going to move us on. But if you still have questions about this, feel free to find one of us after the meeting. And if we don't know the answer to your question, then we will certainly help you find it. So at this time, I am going to bring up April from Juneteenth. And we are so excited to have April. Juneteenth has a number of events coming up, and April's going to tell us all about what's happening and how we can get involved and where we can be to show up. And so we're just so excited to have her today. I'm going to give you the mic.
Okay, great.
Okay, and then to go to the next slide, you click on this. The next slide has the different. Okay, so right there.
Oh, okay, great, perfect.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. As you said, I'm April. I'm with Juneteenth GBL. I've had the opportunity to work with April, Sarah, yeah, there's Sarah, as well as Cindy. We have worked together through the Greenville Common Ground Collective. Also, we've worked together on, we had Power in the Polls with, we partner with Greenville County, Greenville Dim Women. And so Indivisible Upstate also came to be a part of our polling event, or Power to the Polls event that we had last year. So I've had an opportunity to connect a little bit with Indivisible Upstate, but I'm excited to just share a little bit about Juneteenth with you. And I just want to ask this question. When you guys hear the word Juneteenth, were you taught about Juneteenth in grade school, college? Okay, everybody shaking their head. No, okay, great. All right, okay, great. Good stuff, good stuff. Okay, so neither was I. So when people hear Juneteenth, what do you think? When you hear the word Juneteenth, and this is a safe space, as you all know. Freedom? Anything else? I love that word though.
Anniversary of Texas finally implementing abolition.
Yes. Okay, that's good stuff. Anything else?
True history coming out.
True history coming out. I love that. What's your name?
Steve.
Hey, Steve. I like that. Okay. So I know a lot of times when I ask that question, what I hear is people say, "Oh, I think that slavery ended." So so when I hear Juneteenth and everybody was free, the end. But that's actually not the story. Juneteenth is not just a celebration. It is actually a confrontation. So it forces America, as you said, Steve, to sit with its truth. So when you think about Juneteenth, it forces us to sit with the fact that freedom was delayed. It was delayed. Freedom, not only was it delayed, freedom was resisted. It was resisted. And even though freedom was announced, many Black people still could not access the freedom that they said was available to them. So this matters because history doesn't just disappear because because it makes people uncomfortable. Juneteenth is a part of our tapestry of this nation that we live in called America. And I just want to take just a couple of minutes to tell you a little bit about the truth of it, which you so greatly shared about it. So on June 19th, 1865, which is where we get the word Juneteenth, the 19th of June, Juneteenth, the enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, were informed that they were free. By who? General Gordon Granger of the U.S. Army. He came with the executive orders of order number 3. But here's the truth. When he got to Galveston, Texas, and he alerted the people of Galveston that the enslaved Black people were actually free, do you guys have an idea of how many people were still enslaved? Give me a number.
50,000.
60,000, higher. Lower. 250,000. 250,000 enslaved Black people were still, were still not experiencing the freedom that had been emancipated or had been written out by Abraham Lincoln in 1863. So now here we are 2.5 years later, and these people are still enslaved. Why? Why were they enslaved? Honestly, many of these enslaved people knew and had heard about the Emancipation Proclamation. However, the slave owners resisted that. And because the U.S. Army wasn't there to enforce it, they could continue with that way of life. So slave owners simply withheld information because they wanted to keep what? Free labor for as long as possible. So even after the announcement, some of the enslavers, what they did was they waited until harvest season. It's like, hey, I heard that you were free. You know that you were free, but guess what? You're not free until after we harvest these crops that you just planted. And then some outright just simply refused and said, I know what the order said. However, that's not being enforced here in Texas. So it took the U.S. Army coming to actually go and say that and enforce it. Let me just say that, enforce it. So even though they received the news on June 19th, 1865, there were still months and months and months after that before everyone was totally said that they were free. So I don't want to say that they were actually free because it still exists today. I just don't want you guys to think that Juneteenth is just like some nice little patriotic bow that we put on this holiday. It's a story of people having to fight for humanity, having to fight for equity, having to fight for civil rights, having to fight for equality, even after freedom was legally declared by Abraham Lincoln. So I want to make sure that you understand freedom without access, freedom without equity, freedom without equality, freedom without opportunity is incomplete. And so that's why Juneteenth GVL exists today. Because again, it's not just a celebration, but it is a confrontation that we are still working to have equity in our freedom. So basically, just want to let you know the struggle, as you guys know, it takes many forms. So we went from slavery to what? Sharecropping. And then we went from exclusion to what we're talking about today to redlining. And you talked about blocked education. You talk about economic disparities. We're denied equal access to healthcare, to housing, to wealth, and it's all by design. And so that's why Juneteenth matters. Not because Black history needs one day or needs 1 month. It's totally not that, but it's because this country that we live in still struggles to fully tell the truth about what happened here and how it still impacts people today. So for Juneteenth GVL, we're not just interested in performative celebration. Like, it's great to have the cultural events. It's great to have the galas. It's great to have the brunches. And we do all those things and we do celebrate that. But we're more interested in impact. So we believe that if we're going to honor freedom, we believe that freedom should look like something in real life. Meaning, when I have left your presence, did I leave you better? Did I leave you with resources? Did I leave you with information? Did I leave you with increased opportunities? So that's what we look at. So the things that we do to help be a vehicle for freedom or more of it is like scholarships for students, because we understand that education is tied to economic mobility. Economic mobility is tied to what? Wealth. So when you're able to access those things, you're able to create a legacy. But those things by design were set up for us not to be able to have access to that type of life. We also create pathways to home ownership. Through Habitat for Humanity, we built the first ever Juneteenth build, which is right over here in Nicholtown. The very first Juneteenth build in the world by Habitat, international and nationally. So we partnered with Habitat along with some other entities, and we built the very first Juneteenth house right here in Nicholtown. And so we have a family that will be moving into this home in the later summer. And we're happy to say that we were able to raise funds so that these people can actually have access to affordable housing and more of a secure and safe community to live in. So that's a little bit about why our initiatives exist. And so I'll show you a little bit of what we have coming up this year. So you can see on the screen, we have 5 different initiatives that will be happening. The first thing that we have is our Scholars Brunch. And that is going to be at the Welcome Center, at the Prisma Health Welcome Center. And that's on Wednesday, Juneteenth. Wednesday, June 10th. Juneteenth everywhere. You get a Juneteenth. But we're having our Scholars Brunch. And so what does that look like? It looks like we crown Mr. and Miss Juneteenth. So we have a scholarship fund, and we partner with the Carlo and Nico White Foundation as well. And what we do is for those scholars that apply, as long as they have a 3.5 GPA, they are a senior in high school or a first-year college student, you can apply for a scholarship. We will select the top two, male and female, and they will be awarded with scholarships, funds to help them with their next leg of their education. So we'll be crowning Mr. and Mrs. Juneteenth at the Prisma Health Welcome Center on Wednesday, June 10th. You're more than welcome to support by purchasing a ticket to the brunch. The food is going to be amazing. I'm sorry, I'm a foodie. I cannot help it, but it's going to be great. So we're talking, waffles, French toast, grits, shrimp and grits, grit bar, croissants. We're gonna have seasoned chicken fingers. I mean, you just name it. We're gonna have a mimosa bar. We're just making this great for everyone. It's gonna be an elevated experience, and we want to give our scholars the main stage. We'll also have a guest speaker as well. So that's from 11:32, and the tickets are $85, and we also have tables available as well. But you can find all of this on our website. We also have our Flourishing in Health. We have partnered with USC School of Medicine Greenville, also with Prisma Health and the MedX Academy. And together we are putting on a free health clinic that's going to be at Long Branch Baptist Church from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you need anyone needs diabetic eye screenings, free. Anyone needs to see urgent care, the Prisma Health mobile van will be there. That's totally free. I have something going on with the A1C, high blood pressure. I want to know about measles. Can you tell me about hookah use? All of those things are going to be free. We're going to also offer breakfast as well. We're going to have community resources available. So we'll have vendors from New Horizon to Absolute Care, you name it. We're just going to have vendors out there for the community to be able to access free health resources, get your screenings, get your blood checked, and even talk to the doctors in the white coats and have sessions. You can go and have a 15-minute session with a doctor for free to say, this is what I've been feeling. I got gout, or I have this lymph node on my neck, whatever it may be. You get to get free consultation, insurance or not. But we want to make this available to the community. And again, that's going to be on Friday, June the 19th, Juneteenth. Here we go. We also have our annual wellness event. I get really excited about that wellness event. We start off with the 5K. So whether you're a walker or runner or a stroller pusher, you can come out and participate in our 5K walk run. We start out right behind the Peace Center at Blues Boulevard Jazz. We start out right there. That's our starting line. And that race is being sponsored by Prisma Health. And that's a 5K. We go through the scenic route through Unity Park, and we circle back around and we finish right where we started. We do give out medals. We're going to have a great time with that. We have music at the starting line. We normally have about 300 people that participate in that race. And for me, I walk the race. So if you want to walk with me, you're more than welcome to. But we will have hydration stations, and the cost for that, I think, is $25. And that is for youth all the way up to our seasoned adults. Now, also after that, we go over to Yeehaw Brewing Company. If anybody knows anything about Yeehaw Brewing Company, they have the big screen, the jumbo screen TV, and the beer garden that's outside right off of, I forgot the name of the street. Washington, is it McBee? Yeah, off of McBee Street, absolutely. So we go, after we leave from the race, we go straight over to Yeehaw Brewing Company, and we have a wellness pavilion day. So right there in the beer garden, we set up with a lot of vendors. We have a DJ, we have music. It's all about moving your body. And this year we have celebrity fitness trainer. His name is Dwight Holt, and he has an initiative called Dance Your Pounds Off. Now, I thought that I could dance, but I cannot move that fast. I looked at one of his Instagram videos, and I mean, this dude is getting it. But the music is so good, you forget that you're working out. Yeah, go figure. So Dance Your Pounds Off. Dwight Holt is going to be there, and we also have Eric Perry, he's a boxer from Toccoa, Georgia. He now lives in Houston, Texas. He's going to do 2 youth engagement sessions with our youth at morning. So we're going to give out free boxing gloves. Adidas is a sponsor. We're going to have free things from Adidas that we're giving away. We just want people to come out and have access to wellness. So that whole day is only from 7 a.m. until noon. Why? Because it's hot in June. We want to go home. So we're only going to be out there from 7 a.m. until noon. And then we have our keys to freedom, because again, wealth or access to wealth looks like home ownership. I don't know about affordable housing in Greenville anymore. I really don't. However, we're talking about keys or the pathway to home ownership. So Southern First Bank is our sponsor for this event. Totally free. We try to make everything as free as possible for the community. And we're going to have people coming out from realtors to mortgage lenders, again, Southern First Bank and other entities. And we're going to talk about, hey, don't sell mama's house. I know that mom passed away and I know that, X, Y, and Z, but this is how you hold on to generational wealth. We're going to talk to them about what mortgages would work best for them, whether they're a veteran or, or some other type of classified individual where they may have specific mortgages that lean in directly to that characteristic. We're going to talk about those type of things, and we're going to give them some very practical information and steps to take in order to get those keys to freedom, which we believe is tied to home ownership. And then lastly, we have our Toast of Freedom. I mean, my gosh, we have enough Juneteenth stuff going on. So if you're looking for a way to plug in, please just go to one of these events and I promise you have a great time. But on Thursday, June 18th, this is just a very simple networking event. It's called a Toast of Freedom. We're just asking the community to come out. We're going to be at Southern First Bank on the rooftop. They have a rooftop and we're going to have a DJ. We're going to have some light bites. And we're just using this as an opportunity to come together, connect, network, and have a great time. That's all that we have. And I just want to make sure I don't miss out on anything else. Yeah, I don't have anything else, but I will pause there to see if you guys have any questions for me.
I kind of have a question. So we know that, those who were enslaved were promised like the 40 acres
That
and a
mule.
mule and they didn't get it or whatnot. So what did happen did they, like, if they didn't have a home or money, where did they go?
Okay, so that is a very good question. Did everyone hear the question? Okay, so what happened when we had when the owners or the slave owners released the people to go, many of them went looking for their families that they were separated from. So when you think about that, you had people who were bought, sold, auctioned off, and they were in different parts of the country. Many of them left Texas to try to find out where their relatives were. For those who were unable to do that, many of them were still enslaved to their owners because they did not get land. They did not get resources. So basically, you're told that you're free, but you have nowhere to go. So meaning, and then on top of they weren't even allowing Black Americans or African Americans to purchase land. So if I am working for you, now we go from slavery to sharecropping, right? So now you're telling me that I can work for you, but I work for you and I get food, or I work for you and you pay me below what's even livable. And so, or the money that I do get from you, now I have to pay you rent because I'm living on your property. So they continue to live in enslaved conditions, right? But it was legal because now they are employed, but they are underemployed. It's not even gainful employment. So you still are chained to a system that's not built for you to succeed. So many of them, again, left to go to try to find their relatives, or many of them were still enslaved into a system that did not create a pathway to freedom. Just simply said, basically, you're free, but you have to do everything on your own. Good question. Any other questions? Well, again, I appreciate your time. My name is April. Hope to see you guys.
Did you have a question? You looked like maybe you were trying to raise your hand.
Too late to, come a, volunteer. Close to freedom.
It is not too late to be a volunteer. We love volunteers. You get to be a volunteer. Yes, you can absolutely be a volunteer. You can go to our website, juneteenthgbl.org, and there is a tab that says, how do we connect or get connected? Go to that, and then you can select the events that you want to be a volunteer for. Yes, we would love to have you. And with most events, you do get a free meal. I will say that, and you do get a free t-shirt. So we certainly welcome any and all volunteers. So whichever one you think speaks to you, we would love to have you. And again, I think we're going to have a really great time, and our goal is just to make an impact right here in the upstate.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, April. We're so grateful that you came today and shared all of this with us. I hope that y'all will all go check out the website and see how you can get involved. Whoops, I skipped a slide. Sorry about that. All right, April, Teresa. Okay, I'm gonna have Teresa come up and talk about volunteer needs for IUSC.
All right, good morning. I think it's still morning. Just real quick, April and I are the volunteer management team co-leaders, and we are always looking for volunteers for Indivisible as well. So we've listed a couple that in particular that we need help with, but there's plenty of other opportunities as well. So if you're interested, our volunteer management team needs a couple more people to help with our training team, which is basically helping us put together slideshows and documentation and that kind of thing. We also are looking for a couple of people to help with documenting procedures for our various teams. We have a group called the Speedy Responders. So it's a signal chat group, and if you're interested, you would join that. And then if we have urgent actions that need to be taken, whether it's a call to action, like to call your representative, to send emails, to write call to actions, that kind of thing, we put those into that chat. And then if you're available, you can volunteer for that. And then we have an admin team, which supports, does a lot of support for Cindy and for some of the basic organizational support. Creating the newsletter and distributing it, organizing, creating calls to action, that kind of thing. So if you are interested in any of those in particular, just come see me or April, or you can always volunteer through our website online. Anything to add, April? Okay.
Thanks, Teresa. Okay, so Cass had to leave because he went canvassing this morning with the Greenville Common Ground Collective, which we're going to send y'all some more information about that as well in our newsletter. But he runs our canvassing teams for IUSC. He did say that our SC voter technology has been down for like the last week. It has been restored, but because of that, we do not have a current canvassing opportunity with the QR code that you see on the screen. But if you would like to take a picture and save it, now that we have access again, we'll be running those teams again soon. When you canvass with IUSC, we're not going out for specific candidates. We're going out for a lot of listening and asking questions and finding out more, looking for what the voter needs, trying to do some education, especially now with all this mess with the primaries. We're going to need to do a lot of education. So that's what canvassing looks like with IUSC. You're not going out specifically for a candidate, but we are talking about issues and looking for ways that we can help educate voters to help them have a voice and understand how the way they vote makes a difference in what happens around here.
Mainly to encourage them.
And yes, definitely to encourage them to vote. We're trying to focus this year a lot on communities that tend to have low voter turnout, and help find out why they haven't been engaging and if there's ways that we can assist to help them to feel more engaged. And also just to encourage them to use that vote, because if we all do, then we have a lot of power. Okay, and now I'm going to have Lori come up and give you a quick social media update.
I am going to be super short today. I just wanted to let everybody know that so far this year, we were really close last month to having over 1 million impressions on our social media. And we hit that in the early part of May. So we've had 1 million impressions across all of our social media channels. We have approximately 19,000 followers across all of the channels, and fabulous interaction numbers for the things that were there. And I'd also like to encourage anyone who would like to get more information out on social media from Indivisible Upstate, please volunteer. Come and help me get information out to people. I'm planning for either June or July, offering some classes on how to write captions and create visuals for political type information, but it can also be useful for anything that you're doing. So be on the lookout for those when they come out. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Lori. Okay, the next thing is a quick survey from us, and I will send this out in the newsletter, but if you are able to use the QR code, we would absolutely love for you to do this before you leave today. It's one question. IUSC is trying really hard to figure out how we need to prioritize to best serve you, because we really want our work to be meaningful. We want it to help the people figure out how to be more involved civically. We want to be able to help lift your voices and make you feel like you have a voice in this space in South Carolina. And so on the survey, you'll find a list of all the things we've been trying to do. And what we're asking you to do is prioritize those things for what's most important to you. That way, when we're planning, we know where we should spend the bulk of our time and effort, because we know what you're looking for. So if you will take just a second to do that for us, we would super appreciate it. And then, oh, can we do that?
I think it's because, I can try, but I think it's because of the limitations of the screen.
Check the presentation mode off.
It worked for me.
Did it? Okay, it didn't work for me.
I had to make sure my phone was portrait.
Portrait, okay. Yes, yes.
Oh, my. So it looks that way because normally I work off of 3 big screens. So but when I take it apart, it condenses everything. I promise it's not as bad as you think. One thing I forgot to mention to Cindy about this survey though is, will that better? Can you do it that way? You don't have to put an amount in every space. So like if you think IUSC should focus on only one thing listed, you can put 100 of your tokens, or however you want to call it, in that, and then just leave the others blank or put a 0. So don't feel like you have to put a solid number in every single spot.
I just more points.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the problem is that we've had a really hard time prioritizing because it all feels important. That's why we really want to know what you all think. So if you'll just spend your 100 points in a way that shows the things that are most important to you, we would super duper appreciate that. And then you can watch, we're going to take that information and there will probably be another survey sometime soon where you can give us a little bit more detailed information and also share your ideas with us. If there's something that's not on this survey that you'd like to see, then there will be a space for that coming. This is just the beginning of trying to get organized. So thank you so much for doing that. And then you're going to put it back on the. Can't see, sorry.
Cindy, can I make a suggestion for everybody to put this in perspective? It's, people are so spread out and overwhelmed, they're either overwhelmed by not knowing which organization or where to go, or just don't know what to do and stuff. But by focusing on one, like this organization, gives you that direction and gives you options. And also, I highly encourage people to at least periodically go on that Thursday afternoon with Indivisible, because well, you know, I was moved here from Berlin and I was working with democracy groups over there. And it was the same way. They were isolated and kind of not knowing what to do. And I almost insisted that they connect with Indivisible. It changed everything. It changed how they got motivated. It changed their numbers. Even when they went out and mirrored the No Kings demonstrations every time, more and more people came. And I could see it as a direct correlation with them getting enthusiastic about something because they finally had somewhere to put that frustration and energy. So I suggest that people just, you know, join and get involved in at least one thing. And then from there, it will grow and you won't be quite so overwhelmed and you'll feel much better.
That's right. You know, the overwhelm and the chaos is part of the goal from the administration. And it is super hard, especially right now, not to feel overwhelmed and burnout. And so we really encourage you to do what you can and also take care of yourself because we want to make sure we're in this for the long run. And the Thursday calls with Indivisible National that Catherine mentioned, those are in our newsletter every Sunday. So if you want to hop on one of those calls, then you'll get the perspective from National Indivisible about what's going on. And if you don't have time, you can always register and then they send you a recording of the call so you can watch it at your convenience. So just click the link and register and then you'll get a recording to watch later if you want it.
You can always find it on YouTube.
Oh, yes, and Indivisible does have a YouTube channel where you can watch it as well. A couple of just quick announcements. Next month in June, we will not have an official IUSC meeting. Our normal meeting day is the 4th Saturday of June, and the Greenville County Pride Festival will be going on that Saturday. So we are encouraging everyone who would like to participate in that instead of being here. So our next IUSC member meeting that's in person will be on July 25th. And then also, we just wanted to update you, if you have not been aware, we have lost a couple of leadership team members recently. All of them are still planning on staying involved and volunteering, just working in different capacities. Like we said, the burnout it's a real thing. And so we all have to take care of ourselves too. So if you worked with Brandy or Aaron or Sarah with any of the things that we've done, I will be around after the meeting if you want to see me and just record a quick video and say, thank you, we really appreciate you. I would love to send that to them. There's absolutely no pressure, but I would love for you to do that if that's something you would like to do.
I have a question.
Yes.
In regards to volunteering for Pride, I'm not sure if you know this, I think Pride goes from 11 to 5, but for some of the, I guess, the different volunteer opportunities, they didn't say like time slots. So would it be for the entire duration of Pride that you would be volunteering, or is that kind of something you might find out when you sign up for a particular opportunity?
Yeah, so We have been sending out the link for Pride to volunteer, but but they're doing all of the organization of the volunteers, so I don't really know exactly how it works. But I can definitely find contact information for you and include it in the next newsletter so that you can ask that question.
Okay, thank
Yes.
If you go to upstateprideSC.org and use the contact us link on their main page, you can send them that questions directly, and they're usually pretty good about answering.
Okay, so that was upstatepridesc.org. If you have questions about volunteering, it sounds like the form makes it look like you would volunteer all day, but I'm sure that they would love to have people in whatever capacity you're able to do. So go through and contact them through their website so that you can find out what's available that works with your schedule.
Comment number 2 out of 2 total. Indivisible is going to have a booth or a tent or whatever you call it at the event. I think it's booth number 75 in particular. You have to look at the map to see where that is.
Yes.
Volunteering for Indivisible's booth, different than volunteering for the Upstate Pride event.
Right. We will be tabling at that event. And when it gets a little closer to the time, IUSC will also send out something about if you would like to help table, which is different than volunteering to help through Pride. That's helping their organization with the entire event, but helping table with us would be sitting at our table to talk to people about Indivisible when they come by during the event. Thank you, Walt. I don't know what this is.
So, this is just, about so when I stopped by the Greenville County Elections Office this week, they wanted me to mention to everyone that they are having a demo of voting, basically of the voting machines, on the 20th at their office. It's Suite B9 and it is around the back of McAllister Square. And it starts at 4 p.m. and they will basically just give a demonstration of the voting system, how the machines operate, and tell you more about how they know that our machines are secure.
Thanks, April.
Yep.
Okay, and then we are going to finish up today with oh, sorry, one more thing. I forgot the one more thing slide. We did request that people bring donations for Food Not Bombs. And we do need a volunteer who'd be willing to drop off the donations. The location is off of Wade Hampton Boulevard. So if you would be willing to take those, if you will see April right after the meeting, that would be amazing. And thank you so much for that. For any of you that are new, we take collections for Food Not Bombs every time we meet. So if you were not aware of that this time and you come back to the next meeting, we'd love for you to bring something that can be donated to them. Mostly they're looking for non-perishable items, but if you go to their social media, sometimes they have a very specific list of things that they need. And so you can pull anything off of that list and bring it with you. We'll make sure it gets to them. Right. Nothing perishable for sure. Absolutely. But sometimes they will have requests for things like blankets or hats or socks or something like that, but definitely nothing perishable. Thank you. Yes. Okay, perfect.
One of the volunteers that hands out a lot of the food and clothes at the event. So we do like to accept clothing events. If you have any clothes or shoes that you're no longer wearing, that would be great for us, because a lot of our people out there are homeless and they could really use, especially in the wintertime, they could really use a lot of blankets and towels and stuff. Thank you.
For those of you that are on Zoom, if you weren't able to hear that, Food Not Bombs is especially in need of clothing and shoes for people in the homeless community. I have heard that there's not a lot of storage, and so like don't go through and clean out your winter closet right now. Please go through and clean out your summer things right now that you don't need anymore, that are in good condition, and donate those. Hold on to the winter things until it starts getting a little colder, just because Food Not Bombs does not have a lot of place to store that. But if you have clean towels or gently used summer clothes, those would be very much appreciated right now. Okay, and then before you leave, there is a table at the back where you can fill out a postcard. There's a QR code for you to scan where you can find all of your representatives from the top all the way down to the county and city level. So you can choose who it is you want to talk to and what you want to talk to them about. You can leave your postcards here. IUSC will take care of putting postage on them and getting them in the mail, so you don't have to worry about that. There are a few sample issues and scripts back there if you would like to use them to help you write a postcard. But those are just suggestions. So anything that's pulling at your heart is perfectly acceptable for you to write about. We did not end up with poster supplies today, so that's not on the table, but you can see me if you would like to record a short video for Aaron or Brandy. And then I know Walt has something that he would like to announce to the group.
Do I come up or just pop here loud? Okay. Hello, folks, my name is Walt, I live in Spartanburg, and for the past couple of months, I've been in touch with the Atlanta Indivisible Group. Oddly enough, they call themselves Indivisible Atlanta. And I've been in touch with them because this coming June and July, the World Cup is going to be held, and Atlanta is going to be one of the host cities. I've been in contact with them to see if they're doing any planning about events that they might be holding in relation to that. So far, not a whole lot of specific news or planning. One thing I did find out is that the deadline to apply for a permit to protest at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in downtown has already come and gone. So I doubt that they're going to be doing that, but I don't know what else they're going to be doing instead. Their next monthly meeting is June 7th, which is a Saturday, which is literally just a few days before the World Cup starts. So if I do have further news, there's going to be a small window of opportunity for me to pass that on, but I do know I will pass on. I'm going to be going down to at least some of these events, and I have a vehicle that can fit up to 3 other people as long as 2 of them are small. June 27th is one of the dates where the World Cup is going to be held in Atlanta, but that's also our regional crime event, so I won't be going to that one. Some of the events are on weekdays with a noon start time, so I don't know how much availability that will allow other people to express. But if and when I do find Friday news, I'll certainly ask to have it put in the newsletter or communicate to some other means. And if anyone is interested in participating in this or gathering more information, Cindy knows my contact information. I can give it to you directly myself if you ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Walt. Yes.
Make a quick comment.
Okay.
I mean, I recently had a meeting with, Ben Blunt, who is the chair county. Had a conversation with him specifically about, a lot of us are commenting and sending messages and calls, but especially if it's a written message to our senators and different representatives. One of the things he said to me, the important impression on me, and it creates changes to me, that sometimes we get these form things where we can just put our name, and it goes to all of them, and it's already scripted. He told me specifically, he said, when he gets a bunch of those, he just stops reading them. He said, but if anybody takes the time to put some more personal messages and stuff on there, he reads every one of those. It made an impression on me because I have been doing, I was guilty of sending a lot of just form stuff to the senators, and I would just get the form stuff back. When I started making it personal to them, particularly Tom Scott, wrote back a lot of personal things in there. I could tell the difference because the form font was different than his personal stuff. So it started showing that things were coming differently when I did that. So I'm gonna point that out to you. You can still take some of the form, but please try to add some personal information in there. They pay attention to that, and it makes a difference in how they will respond or if they even read it. So that's why I.
Thank you.
Thing from the Zoom, I can find it. There is a Soul Care for Activists, Advocates, and Allies event, Sustaining Good Trouble, that will be held at the First Baptist, May the 21st, 6 through 8, and includes dinner. If you are interested in attending that, you can contact Ms. Reverend Susie Smith for a free ticket. You don't have her contact information, I can get that to you. And it's going to be by Matt Rollins. It won't be too churchy.
That's being put on by Mill Village Ministries. So you can also go to their website and reserve a spot if you're interested in doing that. Yes. Are we allowed to shout out candidates in this room? Sure, but I'll just put the caveat on it that it's a individual opinion and not an IUSC necessarily endorsement. Go for it.
No. Well. If you thought about making a donation, another small, please make another one, make the first one. That's all.
Thank you. If anybody has any questions, feel free to come up and, oh, okay, I'll take one more. Yes, ma'am.
Your excellent Brooks Fine about Frederick Douglass in the White Wonderful Library has son. I was taught about that in high school, and all my high school books were great. He was very young, which was wonderful to see.
Thank you so much. If y'all have questions, Teresa and April and I are here. Please feel free to write a postcard before you leave. And thank you so much for being here this morning. We really appreciate all of you. And thank you to those who joined us on Zoom today too. We really appreciate you doing this with us for the first time. Y'all have a great rest of your day.
That's